McCullough?
Yes, sir.
St. Louis?
Yes, sir.
Lives in a group home?
Yes, sir.
And works?
No famous number. When all you the football combo fan.
Okay. And Margaret Stately, originally from Chicago, but her mother lived in Mesa, Arizona for a while, and then moved to the Sedalia, Missouri. And Margaret lives in an apartment on campus and works
in a print shop.
And roots for the Dodgers.
No, Chicago White Sox, Chicago Cubs, and Chicago Bears.
And next is Penny Fells, and Penny is from St. Louis, and she lives in a group home and works.
Russia.
The Woodhaven Handbell Choir was the brilliant idea of Reverend Stan Williams, who was the chaplain on the Woodhaven campus in 1972. From a humble performance of Row, Row, Row Your Boat for the Woodhaven Board of Directors, to traveling the country, playing in all 50 states, and performing for presidents and other dignitaries, the Woodhaven Handbell Choir was one of the most unique, innovative, and important projects to happen at Woodhaven.
When some church in Florida donated the bells, that's when he said, this would be a really good idea, and that's when he developed it, and it really turned out wonderful. Every other bell choir in the country didn't play like that, so he just developed a system that really worked well so they could follow along and play their notes and hit them good timing and make a good sound.
He used a blind of a shade for a window, the entire shade for a song, and he would mark it with squares, and he would personally do the notation as he was doing it on the piano with his hand. And then when he performed, he'd have a huge podium, and this he would hold with one hand and bring it up, roll it up as he was touching each note. And if you've never tried that, it's almost impossible.
Impossible was a word often used to describe the bell choir, but one only had to see a performance to know that it was not only possible, but beautiful. Reverend Williams and his choir of bell ringers learned and practiced a full concert worth of songs. They practiced, performed, and expanded their reach. They added other performances, like a piano solo by their resident composer, Miss Barbara Mull, and a song from Reverend Williams himself, played on the musical saw. When they started to tour, they brought in Mrs. Kay McKay to coordinate and assist on the trips. And then they hit the road, visiting disciples' churches, performing for an offering, and staying in the homes of church members in order to minimize costs.
It was a great adventure sometimes when my dad would ask me to come along and help. And at the time, Woodhaven had a big bus that, when we took a big group like that, places. One of the biggest, funnest was probably our trip to Washington, D.C. And it was in Richard Nixon's time. His daughters came down to hear the bell choir play inside the White House. And we got a very nice tour of the White House. Kids loved it, I loved it, Dad loved it. It was really nice.
I loved his performances because he always brought out the best in everyone that was performing.
Now we're going to have Barbara Mull play a piano solo for you. Barbara composes and writes her own music, and so we would like for her to share one of her original compositions with you.
And the bells were just absolutely wonderful. And you could tell there was a great deal of pride. It makes you understand why they had the opportunity to perform for so many presidents and in so many locations, is because they really were a role model for music and for individuals of all abilities.
But with the changes on the horizon at Woodhaven, the Handbell Choir could not be sustained in its current form. New directors were brought in, Jerry Deck and Christy Anderson, to lead performances locally, but finally, the bell choir had to be decommissioned. It was a difficult and painful decision. But Woodhaven found a way to save the bells and save this wonderful tradition by partnering with Columbia Parks and Rec.
This next song is dedicated to each and every one of you who are here this evening for a wonderful cause and a wonderful memory. It's called Bless This House.
I'd always shared the story with folks about having the opportunity to meet this choir when I was 16, and I said at that time I'd really love to work with them at some time in my life. And people had remembered that. And when Woodhaven was going through their restructuring, they gave me a call. And I happened to be in a position where I was working for the Columbia Parks and Recreation Department, and we have an adapted program that would lend itself to be able to have this choir continue to represent Columbia. And so we had the opportunity to purchase the bells, and our choir happens to be a unified bell choir. So we have individuals with disabilities, we have senior Americans, we have individuals from all walks of life playing melody chimes right now. And melody chimes are a bit lighter than the handbells, but it was the handbells that allowed us to afford the melody chimes. People are touched by them. They're an instrument that you don't only listen to, you listen with heart.
When we first began to ring our bells, the first dream that I had for the bells in the choir was to play a song all the way through and recognize what it was. And so we worked on that dream, and that dream came true. And then the second dream I had was, wouldn't it be nice if we had enough songs to do a concert? So we worked on that dream, and that dream came true. Then I decided one day, wouldn't it be nice to take a little trip and play some places other than just around town? And lo and behold, that dream came true, and even more than I ever imagined. All of our dreams don't always come true, but many of them will. And the reason ours did was because we didn't give up. By constant work and constant prayer, we have succeeded. And now we'd like to ask God's blessing on you as you work towards fulfilling the dreams that you have, and share with you our theme song called The Impossible.